All right. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Pressbox. We here with the Raw 808 Underground Radio. Here with Rex. As you can see, we got my man here. We doing our thing. It's this one right here is a really good treat for the barcode. So I hope y'all really like that. Really enjoy what's going down over here at the Raw 808 where we play hip hop how it should be heard. Underground hip hop. And we start off with some of the best. Like I said, we got Rex here, man. How you doing?
Peace, God.
Mm.
Thanks for having me in the building, brother.
Yeah, man. So I really want to start off and try to get people to understand who Rex is. Where are you from? What? Let's just go down the line. Let's start with like a little history of Rex.
Word.
Where it start for you?
So, REX is an acronym for Rhythmatic Eternal King Supreme.
Mm.
I love acronyms because, like the teacher, KRS-One,
Mm-hmm.
the foundation and principle reason why I started doing what I do, it was an acronym in the name, a KRS-One for
Oh.
teaching and for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take on some of that kind of like vibration, being like just north where I come from, north of the Bronx,
Mm-hmm.
of New York and Massachusetts. Originally from Lawrence, Massachusetts. Many people don't know the city I come from. A very small town. It's a mill city,
Mm-hmm.
quite equivalent to like a lot that goes on in the Midwest and the Northeast. It's a textile mill city, Lawrence, like hardworking individuals, and my family moved up from the South,
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina and Georgia, to be exact. Just the border town of Augusta and Clearwater-ish area in South Carolina. And so my grandparents moved my moms up there into this little community to like, just be hardworking people up in the north.
Mm.
And I grew up and gravitated in an area in Lawrence, Massachusetts, where the vibrations of what was going on in the Bronx and in
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn and all that area was going up to Boston and navigating its way into my small little community.
Mm.
So
You get caught up in that?
got caught up in it. You know what I'm saying? All the way up in it. You know what I'm saying? Just like many of us. And,
Yeah.
and like, uh, I'm out here in this area just living that with these grays in my bed. I'm still living in that vibration that I started with very early on. And I'm super keen on educating the now generation
Mm-hmm.
about what we came up in and some of those like little foundational pieces that are missing now in the culture. And
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem doing it like piecemeal, city by city, everywhere I go. I was just in Denver, I was just in Tulsa, and like, pretty soon we're going to be in Salt Lake City and Midvale in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And everywhere we go, we're planting seeds, like reigniting that fire after 50 years of hip hop,
Mm.
reigniting what we started with, that foundational thing that make me love what I'm doing, what you
Mm-hmm.
doing, what we all doing for hip hop.
Yeah. So outside of that, I want to talk about how did you get hooked up with the KRS-One tour? I mean, what were your influences and how did that spark first? Because that's how we connected. It's like first, nope, I can't say that. First we connected through DJ King Flow.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
did you
Yep,
did
yep.
your he did your interview, and shout out to DJ King Flow Mixtape
Indeed.
Addicts. You
Indeed.
know what I'm saying? They did the interview with you. So now I'm kind of like, all right, cool, my man is tight. And I reach out to you. We try to connect. Kind of missed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We try to connect, but now first thing you did, you was like, yo, I'm gonna be in Florida, man. I'm gonna hit you.
I'm
So
coming
how did
right
how
up
did
to
that
see you.
how did that come? How did that come about with the KRS thing?
So first and foremost, planes, trains, automobiles. No matter what it is, I'm jumping on whatever I can to get out to wherever I gotta be. I jumped on a Flixbus to get out here. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? It's nothing for me to like, pack up a bag. My queen, she rides with me.
Mm-hmm.
Super ride or die wherever we go on God's green earth. We
Mm-hmm.
gonna make sure that we get it how we live. From the mud, like just do it. But the KRS tour itself, uh, I had built some relationships in Florida because I lived in Florida for about 7 years. My sons actually grew up in Broward County. My
Okay.
youngest, Josiah, was born in Miramar,
Mm-hmm.
Broward County, and my son Isaiah was 2 years old when he first came out to Florida. So I built some relationships in Florida that allowed me to be able to be out in the community out in Fort Lauderdale, out in Miami,
Hmm.
putting in work where there's a foundation of boom bap that's so vibrant
Hmm.
down there in those little communities. Like people will be surprised. Like a lot of times, I know I was when I first moved out there.
Right.
I didn't even know that a lot of that energy was existing in Miami and in Fort Lauderdale and Davie and all these different like little towns in Broward and Miami-Dade.
Hmm.
So there's a brother by the name of DJ Heron who put this KRS-One show on,
Hmm.
and he's a brother who's done cuts for me. He's done we've put together some dope records together, myself and him, and I got ties to a producer by the name of Mnemonics.
Hmm.
I did an album called Revolutionary with him, a full album with Mnemonics, and a full album with my brother Hazardous Sounds, who's on Drink Champs. He's like the engineer on Drink Champs. I have a full album called Eyes Watching God with Hazardous Sounds.
Hmm.
So I have some foundational like work with a lot of producers, DJs, MCs in Broward and in Miami-Dade, and even in Orlando. In Orlando, I did a record with a brother by the name of Am I Am, and there's a few other MCs and producers and DJs out here that I'm tied to.
Hmm.
So through DJ Heron, who put on that KRS-One show, he was like, bro, we need to get you out here. Because it's like he the teacher, I'm the student almost, like in terms of the vibrations of what I bring to the table.
Hmm.
I'm just carrying on that torch of what KRS-One's been talking about for eons.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
How is it in the like like the backstage in the moment you're around the teacher, you're around them. I mean, what's the energy like when you're around when like KRS-One? It's like I know SB the Anomaly. He's real good friends with shout out to SB. He's real good friends with KRS-One, and he always tells me the energy is electric, and you're like the second person that's been around him, and it's just like he's one of the greatest of all time. So
Yeah.
how's that energy being in that room with him?
So quite honestly, like the the show that we did this time was not my first show opening for KRS. The first was in Massachusetts in the Boston area, and I've seen him perform probably 7 or 8 other times other
Hmm.
than that across the country. And every single time it's like a new show, it's a
Hmm.
new experience, and he's always like reinventing the wheel of how he does a lot of things. Super paramount to like the presentation in his showcase is like this just like ability to go off script and kind of like you know create on the spot. Like
Hmm.
spontaneity for the environment is key. And
Hmm.
I instituted some of that kind of like energy into like some of the shows that I do to make sure that like depending upon the crowd. For instance, he made it a focal point because he saw that there was a lot of young energy in the building. He was like, okay, I see what y'all brought me, Miami. I'm gonna have to reintroduce y'all to the teacher. You know what I
All
mean? So his mind frame was like, let's take it back to 80.
right.
Let's take it to the 80s and let's reintroduce KRS-One as if I'm a
Re-education.
new artist. And so that energy that he literally kind of like transcended the entire showcase and made it feel like you were in 1980 where
Hmm.
like well, not 1980 but the 80s. You know what I'm saying? That
Hmm.
whole era of like a brand new performer, excuse me, a brand new performer stepping on the stage for the first time and showing you he's vibrant, energized, and he's going to bring that energy to you to the forefront. So like it was incredible to see
Hmm.
those who didn't even know a lot about KRS-One get introduced for the very first time and become lifelong probably fans of the teacher. So
Hmm.
every single time I've been around him, it's been that electric.
Hmm.
The obvious like slew of like massive like hit records for the underground
Hmm.
that exist are there. And when I perform, I make sure that like I am adding and not subtracting from that energy. So I got to make sure that my energy is on top level, that
Hmm.
I'm super engaged with the crowd, that I jump into the crowd, I engage person to person.
You do
I
that,
make sure I find that one person who's not engaged so I can like make
and
sure I
you really
engage.
get at
Or I'm
him.
or I'm gonna go there for a minute and make sure wait till your energy is right there with me. Then we can move on to the next
Yeah.
individual. But we're gonna make sure that like uh, it's like it's definitely class in session when
Mm-hmm.
you step onto that stage. You gotta super own the stage when you're rocking with someone like
Mm-hmm.
KRS-One or Busta Rhymes or like the Roots or like so individuals like that who are so dynamic
Mm-hmm.
in their presence. You got to make sure your presence is like felt.
Speaking of presence, let's talk about your music.
Let's get to it.
Let's talk about your music. If you could describe what is the first thing that you want people to catch when they turn on that, when they hit their iPod or when they turn on their phone, what do you want them to hear? What do you want them to get from you? The first thing you want them when you think about your music, what is the first thing you want to get out to your listeners, audience?
The very first thing I want people to hear when they listen to Rex is that I'm for the people. Like I'm literally for the black and brown under under recognized, underappreciated individuals on this planet. So
Mm-hmm.
hip hop is a gateway, a portal for me to be able to share my traumas and experience that are kind of parallel with the
Mm-hmm.
with the experiences of individuals in Detroit, individuals in New York City, individuals in Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
individuals in Tulsa and in Orlando, and all these different communities where black and brown people have been, kind of disrespected politically, economically, socially.
Mm-hmm.
It's my duty to like pay it forward for the ones who came before us, for the poor righteous teachers, for the brand Nubians,
Mm-hmm.
for the KRS ones, for the Rakims, and for individuals who have been shining light and beacons of light. I want to pay that for. I have to carry a torch, even if like it wasn't just physically handed to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's my responsibility to be an example of that. So when
Mm-hmm.
I speak, when I get on stage, when I have an individual put on their headphones, I want to make sure that they're feeling that energy.
Mm. So let me ask you a question. That being the case, where do you go? How do you feel like you're gonna reach that crowd? The boom bap. You try to go back in time. Do you try to go into the future? Or do you not really pinpoint nothing? It's just whatever vibe you're feeling. So my question is, how do you feel about boom bap versus what's now? You think it's coming back?
I don't feel like boom bap will ever leave first and foremost, but I don't think it's I don't I think it's bigger than just boom. Hip hop is so immersive. There are so many roots and branches, and we get so lost in this idea that um, we have to classify ourselves in a specific box.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're better suited to like recognize that hip hop is this huge tree and there are so many branches that are like vital to the like pulse of our conversation. As an elder statesman, I feel like it's important for me to like not just say I'm listening to the youth, but like really hear where they're coming from in their tone. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So like as a boom bap artist, like I can listen to somebody who does drill, lo-fi, who does all different sounds,
Mm-hmm.
EDM, grime, whatever it might be. These are all branches of hip hop that are very important and vital to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a committee spiritualist, like
Mm-hmm.
as far as like my belief system and what I practice, I can't be dismissive of somebody who's a 5%er. I study lessons. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Many people read the Bible, many people read the Quran or the Torah or study Buddhism, the Bhagavad Gita. And like all these things are intellectually like elevating us as people, but we're so partitioned off and divisive that we can't really hear. We're blocking messages.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a youngster's talking to me in his language, I gotta really hear him in his language. And so I think boom bap is here to stay no matter what, because there are people who are gonna keep its life force and agenda fluent
Mm-hmm.
and vibrant. But I feel the same way for like other forms, as long as we allow them to flourish, and we actually hear. And if we don't, everything's gonna be kind of low vibrational in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think that do you think that today's listener are ready for that? Do you think they're ready for a change in music? it's hard to explain what I mean the change in music
No,
because it's kind of like the passing of the torch. Do you like where music is going as far as the passing of the torch
I think
from our generation onto this new generation? Are they getting wiser or are they just stuck in a certain mode?
I think there's a high level of and an intense level of individuals who are blocked off from like truths, who are
Mm,
blocked off from the heartbeat of the culture. But I feel us as elder statesmen, again, we have a duty to speak truth to power. We can't just watch and observe and be like our elders who came before us and be judgmental and
mhm,
not be a listener and not be engaged in a way of pushing it forward. Pushing it forward is not just, speaking truths. It's
mm,
not just about teaching. Like,
mm,
individuals who come, our ancestors rejoice when we have a moment to be a student,
mhm,
even with the grays in our beard. You know
mhm,
what I'm saying? Even with like so many long history of lessons, like tried and true methods of knowing what is and isn't true about hip hop. But there's individuals with new voices who can help it move forward if we allow that to be the case.
right.
I think that's very, very important. And I think everyone's ready for that. Everyone's ready for the opportunity to be heard.
Mhm,
Like that's part of the problem. Like we do a lot of talking, but we don't do a lot of listening.
mm.
And we say we listen, but we're not truly listening. And you know how it is when you're in a conversation with a person and you just wait for your opportunity to like get your little joint in. You know what I'm saying? And that's just really how
That
we
happens so
interact
much.
as human beings.
Mhm,
And so because of that, I think, you know, that's how I felt when I was young. I could look at my sons and my daughter, and I could look at them and know when I need to take a step back and pause for a moment and
mhm,
allow them their time to like truly be them. You know what
mhm,
I mean? And whether I agree with it or not, and I know they super wrong, like I still gotta let them voice how they feel, how
mhm,
they truly feel. Expression is paramount to like us moving forward.
mhm,
For us to be able to communicate together and come to a common energy, everybody got to be heard in the room.
mm. Yo, you just put out a video not too long ago. Tell me about that.
Recently, I dropped two videos my wife actually directed.
Mm.
Universal Sound is one, and the second one is Hardcore Reporters.
Let's talk about
Both of
those.
those records are produced by a brother by the name of Greve. He's out of Torino, Italy.
Mm.
And the reason why I did these records with Greve is because I've been traveling like to Europe for like the past 10 years and working with different producers throughout different various like areas out there. Three different producers in Italy I dropped projects with last year.
Mm.
Two producers from Switzerland, two producers from Austria,
Mm-hmm.
and those specific records right there. Hardcore Reporters features Big Shook from Gangstar Foundation and Rusty Jukes down with Duck Down.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my beloved brothers. Like I love like what they bring to like boom bap hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
what they represent for the art and moving it forward. Rusty is the one of the hardest working individuals on the planet. Like every time I see
Shout
him,
out
he's like he's
Rusty
doing a
Jukes.
every time I see him, he's doing a brand new video, and I'm like, dog,
He just keep
I'm trying to get
dropping
my
them.
joint out, and you already got another joint out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what you
It's
mean?
just
He
like,
just dropped one
gotcha.
with Bernadette. Shout out to Sean P forever, Sean P's forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Bernadette is like out there barring up,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I'm saying. He just did a record with Bernadette. They just posted that, so it's beautiful to see. I love working with Rusty. He's one of
Mm-hmm.
the individuals I work with more than any other artist out there. Probably Terminology's number one. And Sky Zoo's another one that I've done a lot of records with. But I'm a big fan of Rusty Jux, and obviously I got to salute Big Shug still doing it. Gangstar Foundation.
Salute,
You
salute,
can't
salute.
talk hip hop and not talk about Gangstar. So shout out to them. And
Okay.
shout out to my wife for like getting behind the lens and
I was
cooking.
about to say, I
She
saw the
cooking.
video.
Yo,
I
she's
put it on the
cooking.
first page. I
She
put it on the
she would have
first
loved to
page.
see like the vibration of what y'all got here. This is such an incredible aesthetic.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to be here, and I think she would love that too.
Thank you. Speaking of that, what are your influences, man? Because it's like you've already said Rusty Jukes, one of my favorite. You
Hmm.
already said Skyzoo, one of my favorite. Sean P,
Hmm.
one of my favorites. So who are your influences that help create Rex?
So I go back like I started off as a break dancer. So like don't ask me to break dance right now. My knees ain't happen. They ain't like I would try and then like my body would not respond. My body's not responding. Yo,
Hey, your
do
brain
not,
know exactly
do
what it
not,
is,
yo.
but yeah.
That's like basketball. I could hoop, but like yo, I could hoop in my mind, but like yo, once I start to like shoot, it ain't the same. I do a turn, my cricks, yo, nah, we ain't going there, right? But nah, like there's so many individuals who I respect in his art, and it started off. I say the breakdancing thing because it was Beat Street and it was breaking. It
Hmm.
was those like many people say Wild Style and like Style Wars, but like for me it was Beat Street for me as a breaker and the Kumo D Christmas rap is one of the first things that like influenced me. Before I started writing my own rhymes, it was Kool Moe Dee's Christmas rap that I memorized and I started repeating over and over in the schoolyard until I got like my card pulled. Like a girl, she knew it wasn't my rhyme. She was like, "Yo, that's not your rhyme
That's
though."
not you.
Like, yo, stop rapping that joint because that's not all right. So I had to write my own little joints. And I still did a little bit of like, I saw Run DMC with Adidas and I wrote a song called Pumas.
Hmm.
And that was my first joint. So I went, my foundation is Kool Moe D. Then became, like, I loved all of KRS-One was D1.
Hmm.
And then like, later on it was brothers pens like Nasir Jones and Black Thought
Hmm.
and super lyrical MCs who have a message. So I love Common,
Hmm.
Yasin Bey, and the Black Star album. That's like a foundational key component to like for me the art, Scarface, and like individuals who just had something profound to say.
Yeah.
Outcasts and NWA. I used to argue with a friend of mine like he would say NWA and I would say Boogie Down Productions and like what it represented. And the reason being is because like the teacher was talking like on this certain level to me poetically that was not as raw and abashed as NWA was.
Hmm.
I really didn't get into like the street grimy tales as much until later on with Wu Tang and like I'm a East Coast boom
Yeah.
bap head at heart,
Yeah.
but I love Detroit MCs.
Hmm.
I love Detroit MC Midwest MCs. Like I'm a big fan of Guilty Simpson. I'm a big fan of Royce. Big fan of like
Shout out to the homies.
Sir Elzai and like individuals out there. Like the pen game. I can only imagine what the dungeon was like in certain areas.
Man.
But it's like wherever you go, like I love being pleasantly surprised. I just did shows in Denver and Tulsa, and yo, your pen gotta be sharp wherever you are on this planet.
Oh yeah.
Cause MCs are out to task wherever you are. I've been in some dungeons in Orlando. I've been in some spaces in Miami and little hole in the wall spots in Hollywood
Sharp
where
pen.
brothers like LMS and Saheed and Knowledge Medina and Soul Theory, like
Hmm.
I know some spitters,
Hmm.
some super spitters from the South. So Northeast, they always bragging about like, how super ill lyrical MC, yeah, like LMS might chop your head off if you're
I ain't
not
even,
sharp with it. Like there's a lot of MCs that are super dope
I ain't
all
even
over the
gonna
planet.
lie. California has been surprising me.
California is incredible. It was just like
They have been
coming
surprising the
up, I
shit
was an
out of
East
me.
Coast head, East Coast head. I don't know what it is about Detroit because like even in basketball, like for me, Detroit was what it was. Like I grew up loving Isaiah Thomas. I got a song Jump Shots where
Hmm.
like I started off Bad Boy Piston 89. I, I was trying to be like number 11 shorty with the dimes. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my mind frame. My mind frame was Isaiah Thomas, Zeke Thomas. I named my son Isaiah and Zeke Bad Boy Pistons.
Wow.
Real talk. I like in my house, in
Salute.
my household, you couldn't be a fan of the Celtics in the 80s. Like
Oh no.
racism was key. Like you could
Right.
like yo,
Right.
you could like
It
yo,
was
you could
key.
shout out to all the Irish rapper like my brother Slain and like
Hmm.
yo, like they love like St. Patty's Day and everything like that, but like you couldn't really wear that green in in my household growing up. Nah, son, you couldn't. So it was Bad Boy Pistons. It was either Bad Boys
Hmm.
or the L.A. Lakers and
Hmm.
Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson's was smooth with it, but it was just seeing little Zeke Thomas do his thing. So I gravitated
Joe
toward Detroit and
Dumars,
just the sound and the grind.
Jenny Johnson,
Yo,
Bill
the
Lambier.
microwave,
Woo!
yes, yo, like
Yes.
Mark McGuire
See,
later on, like, yo, don't get me twisted,
that's
John
what I'm
Sally,
talking
you know what I'm
about.
saying? Like, yo, like, it
That's what
was
I'm
real,
talking
though.
about.
It was
Mutual
real,
respect.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give some respect to Detroit.
yeah.
Shout out to Marv One and all the
James
family.
Edwards
Fat
with
Farley, King
that
Will.
like handlebar mustache. James
Yeah.
Edwards, like yo, you know what I'm saying? Like yo, I remember that team. Like I studied it. I collected the basketball cards, and then later on, it was just like it was basketball and hip hop. We always got this affinity, basketball and
Hmm.
hip hop. So yeah, man. But then we can talk about LA, and I do have respect for brothers
Coach
like
Contra. You heard them?
yeah, of course. I mean, listen, I got a lot of records with Razkaz, man.
Mm.
Like, yo, and like, I just seen a message somebody said something wild on Razkaz's joint about like, yo, I can't believe, these dudes is Razkaz kids. You know that, right?
Mm.
Right? So like, they're like the twins, that's Razkaz's sons. And he's like, where you think he got like they're trying to disrespect Razkaz's pen? Like, yo, how you gonna disrespect Razkaz's pen, son? Like, yo, like obviously the pen game came exceptionally from dad and his ability to be like
Mm.
it was the nature of the threat from Razkaz
Hmm.
like very early on. That's something like that record right there made me say when I'm gonna talk politically or I'm gonna talk spiritually, I'm gonna say anything about the government. I gotta make sure I'm saying the most vicious, the most like
Intricate, down to the
yo,
detail.
because he was breaking down the entire fabric of Western civilization on that one record.
Hmm.
Like that one record was so foundationally important to me. And it's like brothers like Bishop Lamont, who I've worked with, super, super incredible pen. Planet Asia, one of the nicest rappers on this planet.
Hmm.
I was on a record with Razco from Cali Agents, Planet Asia and Rasco. I had a record with Rasco on one of his Escape from Alcatraz. It was a record that a lot of people thought was a primo record. It actually came from
Mm.
Panic from Chicago. Like, and that record was it was called Gun Still Hot Remix,
Hmm.
and it was featuring myself and Edo G, Edo G and the Bulldogs.
Mm.
So like, yo, super dope. I love California, and I love you Fashion, and like I'm talking about super underground but super dope MCs. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on out here when it comes to hip hop. I was really shocked with California and how they did. Of course, Kendrick Lamar,
Of course.
um, Coach Contra. They were. I Coach Contra. They shocked the hell out of me. I ain't even gonna lie. They came out of nowhere and hit me, and I was just like, okay, okay, I need to pay that. Then you got what's the dude, Jay Worthy? He out there.
Mhm.
You doing the smooth thing and stuff like that. But
Another part of it, not to cut you off a part itself, but like yo, La Russell,
the Russell,
La
yeah,
Russell on a level
yeah,
of like business acumen
hmm,
and reinventing the ways you can hustle up the ability to become like a brand.
hmm,
And like yo, he's a phenomenal example and like one of the young cats that I look to learn how to grow
hmm,
and be progressive in my way of thinking when it comes to um, you know, being not just an artist, but being a business
hmm,
and finding multiple streams
yeah,
of
branding,
working that. Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah, so
I
La
love it
Russell
when
is
he.
phenomenal. If cats don't know who La Russell is, like yeah, he's
They
he's
need to
he's one
check
of them
him out.
ones.
They need to
Yeah.
check him out. Before we
Facts.
get up out of here, dog, tell people where they can find Rex, where they can find him, where you want them to go. Let them know about you, where they need to go find you, because this is one of them brothers that you need to listen to right here.
I'm most active on IG. Instagram is like kind of my go-to, but I'm on TikTok now. My kids is very proud of me. I'm on TikTok. I am Rex.com. You can find me on TikTok. You'll see my reels, my videos. But I'm very active on IG.
Mm-hmm.
And my Instagram is Reks Hip Hop. You look at the joints, you know what I'm saying? You see Reks Hip Hop, like
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. So yeah,
They stole my idea. I always wanted
yeah,
to do
they
it.
already
I
there,
always,
son. They
I
already
always
there. You know what
wanted
I'm
to do
saying? Yo, Rex.
that. I always
And
wanted
you
to
know
do
what? I
that.
got these tattoos here, like not in Orlando, but I did them in Pompano Beach.
Mm-hmm.
I had a brother. Shout out to Tattoo Ray. You know what I mean? My homie was like, let me tat your joints up. Like, let me, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's a brand.
Mm-hmm.
We could brand ourselves and like everywhere. Like, you know, I feel Deuce Phil, they like throw that up there. Show me them joints.
I always
So
wanted to do
so
something
yeah,
like that.
Rex Hip Hop on IG and you know, hit me up. I'm putting out records at a super high rate of releases. Last year I dropped 12 EPs slash LPs, and the objective is to do another 12 this year. And like
Mm-hmm.
I'm
You
doing this
trying to do
whole
one a
project.
month?
Yeah, I mean we doing them consistently. I did records with people all over the world. My objective is to go to Africa and Brazil this year, and I've been working with this brother Sorry drummer out of Brazil, and my goal is just to like piecemeal, little by little, go to guerrilla marketing approach and way of getting my feet into doors, brand new. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can never age and leave hip hop. Like I'm with this forever. So like I'm living off of it. I'm glad to be doing it like this. Planes, trains, automobiles. Trust me, there's many ways to get into the bag. You can get to the bag in various ways, and I've been doing this for over 20 years.
He
So
is not lying.
I know it's doable.
He is not lying.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, this is concluding the Barcode Show. I am your man, Pressbox. This is the Raw 808 Underground Radio, hip hop how it should be heard. You heard it here first. My man Rex in the building.
Thank you for taking time with me, God.
Mm.
Word.